Okay, so I got these 10 reasons why I believe WanChain will be huge in 2018 from WanChain's Reddit. I will leave a link at the bottom. Just a quick disclaimer, I am not a financial advisor. This is not financial advice. Please, this is not the gospel of cryptocurrency. This is my opinion, and I'm going to go through why I believe WanChain, in my opinion, will be huge in 2018, probably the biggest project from their ICO in 2017. Now, if anybody doesn't know, WanChain, their ICO ended, and I believe in October of 2017. So you can no longer participate in the ICO. Also, USA, China, and South Korea, number one, were not able to participate in the ICO. So what does this mean? It means that now that they were allowed to participate, they're allowed to participate when it hits the exchanges, which this is March 1st, and I believe any day now that WanChain will hit the exchanges. So put alerts out, subscribe to my channel, I'll let you guys know, and just pick up WanChain. And this is something I've said in the other video with Derby Perez, this is something I'm going to hodl. This is not something I'm going to pump and dump. I don't really believe in that kind of stuff. It's like, I believe in this coin, so I'm going to hold on to it. And I really believe that it can 100 or even 1000x. It's possible. Again, this is not any advice or financial advice or any inside trading or anything like that. I don't know. But I believe, because of what I'm about to read to you guys, that this is going to be a big deal. So like I said, firstly, USA, China, and South Korea were not allowed to participate in it, and they're going to now once it hits the exchanges. So look out for a big onpour of people getting into the exchanges and buying WAN. So if you buy it early, you could ride this up. And like I said, personally, I'm going to hodl this. This is going to be something I'm holding on to. I'm not going to sell it anytime soon. So the main ICO ran out in less than 1 minute. So officially, people estimated 4 to 10 minutes. But however, it was much less. Now I'm reading this from the perspective of the writer that wrote this. I did not write this. I'll show you the WanChain Reddit. This gentleman said, I sent my transaction on the 1st second, but it was confirmed 4 minutes later. There were comments of people who sent it on the 50th second and missed out. This was perhaps the fastest ICO to sell out ever, or at least very close to BAT, which sold out in 35 seconds. So that's pretty impressive right there. So number 3, and this is really big too. Unlike BAT, which was another ICO that sold out, individual caps. See, WanChain's team put individual caps, which basically meant that no whales could pick up large quantities of WAN. Therefore, it's very difficult for whales to suppress or manipulate the price. This happens in a lot of ICOs. Unfortunately, you'll if you don't get in the ICO and you try to buy it in the exchanges, it starts going up and up and up, and then it just dumps because the whales come in and they just sell everything. So they put measures in place that this can't happen, and this is great. This is really, really awesome. So there'll be no pump and dump scenario, at least not as big as others. And there are people who say, do your due diligence and research yourself, that WanChain may not even dip at all. It may just keep going up. So it remains to be seen, of course, but there may be a slight dump because some people from the ICO might sell when they see it go up a little, but it's not going to be a huge dump. So this is not another, number 4, this is not another ECR20 token. WanChain is its own protocol, and hence it has a much higher value than most ICOs of this year. You can see it on CoinMarketCap. Majority of coins are protocols, not tokens. In addition to this, there is no inflation. The low circulating supply of 100 million means POS means, and this is really important too, because there's not a whole lot of circulation of the supply of the coins. I believe it's, I think it was 200 million, but I could be wrong. Means the circulating supply will be reduced even further. Coins with a POS or masternodes perform extremely well. Just look at Dash, and they're going to have a masternode, what I understand, for WAN as well. So WANChain is ETH, XMR, and XRP all in one. In theory, it is actually superior to all of them. Firstly, it's a fork of Ethereum ETH, so it has a smart contract capability, but already has a POS and private transactions. It is better than XMR because it generates a new one-time address for private transactions every single time. Lastly, it is better than XRP because it actually is decentralized and it can allow banks and normal people to not only do settlements but also provide credit and lending facilities. The icing on the cake is WANChain connects to all blockchains with its interoperability features. So this is really cool. Apparently, private companies and just anybody will be able to write programs that will interface with WANChain and actually be able to do transactions with a ledger securely on a decentralized platform. So this is really huge. Potential is unbelievable. And you could read more up on it on their website. I'll leave that link as well, wanchain.org. So number 6, let's read this here. This isn't a typical ICO which released a white paper and then one day later ran its ICO 2 weeks later. This has been in development for 2 years now, and it's a world-class team behind it. If there was ever the dream team or the A team or whatever you want to call it, WANChain has it. Matter of fact, after I read this, I'm going to hop onto their site and just kind of show you their team. You could also do that on wanchain.org. They have the experience and they're successful in crypto projects, and they're actually the team behind Factom. They have most of the Factom team, and I'll go over that a little later. So they know what it takes to deliver successful ICO. The team's not greedy. Number 7, the team's not greedy. They did not aim to raise hundreds of millions of dollars. They set a fair, realistic cap, which therefore allows incredible returns for ICO investors or those who buy the first few days of it listed on the exchange. You will be crazy to sell this even at 100x. I mean, this really sounds like you're crazy. What do you mean you don't sell at 100x? It just doesn't make sense to me, but just listen to the perspective of this writer and do your due diligence and read and research yourself. Unless you're hoping, let me see if I could find the, okay, so let me see where, so unless you're hoping to buy back cheaper, the value of this project, if they deliver on the roadmap, at least 35B to 70B market cap, that's huge, which would be $350 to $700. I expect this to be achieved within 12 to 24 months. So in the perspective of this writer and the opinion, WAN could hit 350 to 700 within 12 to 24 months. And you could probably get it. Nobody knows what it's going to hit the exchanges at. There are rumors about $1 to $4, $2 to $8. But even if you paid $10, right? You bought WAN for 10 and it went even half of this, 100, 150 on the low end. I mean, you just made more than 10 times to 15 times your money. So just consider that, when it comes in. Obviously you want to watch it when it comes in, it hits the exchanges. We're hoping in the next couple of weeks, most likely it will hit the exchanges. No guarantees. Nobody knows when or where and what it's going to trade at. But this is the potential of WANChain. So number 8. WANChain's target market is huge. There are billions of unbanked people worldwide who could benefit from WANChain's banking facilities. So basically, because it's a decentralized way of lending, it's actually going to make things a lot easier for people that are not really using banking systems and want to use cryptocurrency instead of a traditional bank. So number 9, corporate clients and government organizations can also benefit immensely from utilizing WANChain's private chains. Think of how companies, hospitals, schools, etc. have their own intranets for their own internal employees. However, they can still access the websites on the internet. This can be done at WANChain as well. So number 10, if you have made it this far, I want to stress the last but the most important point. WanChain is by far the best ICO to date from a regulatory standpoint. Even though it's been frustrating to have 3 months locked up of your ETH, because this has been since October, actually probably going on 4 months, maybe close to 3 months. They chose not to allow ECR20 tokens. What they did is a little different. Basically, and let me finish reading and I'll kind of explain a little bit more. They do not allow ECR20 tokens to be traded in order to avoid any scrutiny from regulators like the SEC. Anyone who's familiar with security laws know that regulators mainly look at ICO and what they've done before and right after. When cryptocurrencies become regulated, this is inevitable, guys, whether you like it or not. Each project will be heavily scrutinized by regulators, and many will be deemed securities. So some governments will not care, but surely countries like US and Canada and China, etc. will. They'll set explicit laws that prohibit citizens from buying certain coins on exchanges and from offering them. Sure, there'll be some decentralized exchanges, and a lot of crypto projects will survive because they're naturally cryptos are censorship resistant. However, there will still be a need for legitimate blockchain and its approval for investment and utility for retail institution investors. So anybody that knows I'm in the U.S. The SEC does not really allow us to participate in ICOs. Very few. WanChain is in the United States now, they have their office in, I believe it's Austin, Texas. But they didn't allow the ICO to be because of regulatory problems. They didn't allow the ICO, like I said in the first number one, to be offered in the United States. But you are able to participate in once it hits the exchanges legally. So that's a good thing. But from a trading standpoint, they had their own tokens. So ECR20 tokens were one of those things that would have been nice to trade for that, but it's a placeholder at this point for anybody who has gotten the ICO. So basically, they're being very cautious to avoid any pitfalls with government securities, any cease and desist, and all that. So they've done a great job avoiding any of that. I think that's one of the biggest things. What I like about WanChain is you really don't have to worry about the government squashing them or getting in any trouble, or because they've really, from a regulatory standpoint, they have a really good record. It would have been nice, in closing here, to be able to trade the ECR20 WAN tokens now, but in reality, is it really worth the risk? Allowing those IOUs to trade when literally have no purpose other than being an IOU makes it likely to be deemed a security, in other words, an investment contract. So anybody who has these tokens right now cannot trade them. And WAN made that very clear. Only the address of the person who has WAN, their tokens, can swap them out for WAN tokens for the ECR20, which are basically just placeholders right now. So projects like OMG and ICX have taken risks and could have easily backfired on them in the exchanges that they currently offer them. WanChain obviously wants to set up a huge presence in America since they have their office in Texas. In addition, Jack Liu, the founder, has a huge list of corporate clients from his time with Factom. So one thing to remember too is the team, I'm going to show you this in just a moment, in WanChain are the team from Factom, including government organizations and departments of Homeland Security. So this guy has a lot of people, a lot of government and organizational people that have followed him in his other ventures with Factom. So it seems the team realizes that America and China are the two most lucrative markets for establishing huge corporate partnerships. And right now, it's a race between many top blockchain projects to get regulatory approval there. In a regulatory sense, WanChain's release was executed perfectly due to the lockup and strict KYC. So with that being said, I know this is a lot to take in. This is really positive, and please comment, like, subscribe to my video, and let me know what you think of this. I'm going to hop over to, this is their Reddit. I'm going to leave a link to here where I got this information from. But let's go over the wanchain.org and about their team. So I'm not going to go through every person here, but just take a look at this. I'll leave a link to this. Basically, they have the dream team. Most of these people have PhDs and MBAs. These are very successful, people in the industry. A lot of these are from from Factom. A lot of these guys, like I said, are just, they know what they're doing. They know what they're doing, and they have amazing marketing, amazing development going on. So this is just the dream team and the advisory board as well are all from Factom. We got the founder of Sprint involved. There's just so many world-class developers, leaders, marketers, advisors involved in WAN. This is going to be huge. Read up on it. I'm not going to go through every little detail. There's also, you could read the white paper, the yellow paper, the commercial paper here. Check it out on wanchain.org. And this is John with Crypto Networker News. I'm going to give everybody alerts when WAN hits the exchanges, because I'm going to pick up as much as I can. So in my opinion, I'm going to have, do what you guys do, your due diligence, research this. Don't take my word for it. But, in my opinion, to be a fool not to jump on this. Have your Bitcoin ready to go like I do. We don't know what exchange, again, it's going to be listed in, but there's some rumors that KuCoin and Binance will most likely, but we don't know. So have your Bitcoin ready in exchanges, sign up for your exchanges, and jump on WAN when it hits. I will definitely, once it hits the exchanges, I'll definitely put out a video. Subscribe to my email list, and I'll actually put an email out. If everybody knows me, I very rarely email, but if you subscribe to my email list as well, I will send out a notification on where it's at, so you guys can jump on it early on in the game. And that's about it. Again, please like, subscribe, and look forward to my next videos.